Hey there, and welcome to SCSUTV. Tonight we're going to be talking about the first half of the NFL season, look at what the rookie class is doing in the NBA, and who is going to make the cut to the college football playoffs. I'm your host, Matt Cilbrith, and this is Across the Board. Joining me now is my panel of analysts from SCSU. To my left here, we have Aaron Johnson, sports editor from the Southern News. Next to him, we have Dan Zumpano, a.k.a. DJZ from Live Talking Sports with DJZ. On my other side, we have Donny Finkle from The Juice on WSIN Radio. And next to him is Mike Bendtsen, one of our sports reporters here at SCSU TV. Before we get into the topics, I want to go over how this is going to work really quick. Everybody will have 25 seconds to make their point on the topic that we're talking about. And after the round ends, I will be awarding points as the round goes on to whoever I thought defended their point the best. And at the end of the show, I'll choose a winner who gets a little extra face time to talk about whatever they would like. Now let's dive right into the show. We're about halfway into the NFL season, and the real question I'm asking is, who has been the first half MVP in the NFL? Let's start with our defending champ on Across the Board. Dan, who is your first half MVP?
I don't think it's any secret who the first half MVP is, and it's clearly the 2015 season of rage, that I will call it, by Tom Brady, has certainly captured everybody's attention. The man leading the league in touchdown passes. He's in the top 3 in passing yards currently. And it's no secret. I mean, this is not something that Brady's not used to doing, is putting up numbers. But this year in particular has been one of his best of all time, taking the fact that he has had to deal with the Deflategate scandal.
Really?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah? He has had to deal with the Deflategate scandal.
I'm sorry, that is one of the most homer picks I've ever heard from you.
Homer picks, it's the truth.
You've got to be kidding me. Are we forgetting on the guy in Carolina we like to call Super Cam?
Oh my God.
Super Cam. It's called the most valuable player for a reason. Tom Brady's not the most valuable player on the Patriots. The most valuable player on the Patriots is Bill Belichick. Without Bill Belichick, you have nothing.
You just named a coach as the most valuable player.
Exactly my point. Exactly. What do you think? Where do you think the Panthers are without Cam Newton? Let me put it into perspective here.
I'm going off of that because I agree with you. I think Cam Newton is the MVP. Not only because he is the center of that team. He's the heart and soul of that team. You take Cam Newton off the Carolina Panthers, they're not making the playoffs. They're getting the top 5, top 10 pick in the draft. You take Tom Brady off of the Patriots, they're still, because they have Belichick, because they have the defense, because they have that winning sense, that winning just style. They're gonna be there. They're gonna be there at the end. They're gonna win the AFC East.
Good points. But first of all, come on, Bill Belichick is a coach, not a player. To call him the most valuable player on the Patriots, that's a little ridiculous. But it's a euphemism. It comes down to that question, though. If you take this guy off the team, where are they? And those teams we've talked about, the Panthers, Patriots, and I'm going to throw the Vikings in there as well. I'm going to say Tom Brady because, once again, if you don't have Tom Brady, even if you have Coach Belichick, you're going to tell me that Garoppolo and his little experience is going to go out there and win, no matter what Belichick tells him to do and how they run with it? No.
What happened when Brady got hurt?
That was a fluke. I'm sorry, where's Matt Castle right now? What is he doing right now?
Exactly my point.
You can't say Jimmy G's going to be the same way.
Jimmy G's got a better shot. Jimmy G actually has talent. I'm surprised Matt Castle's still in the league.
But now, I mean, it's not only just Jimmy G. I mean, they could have someone besides Brady. I mean,
you know, it's amazing though, Matt. It's amazing though, Matt, how the argument is based off of why Tom Brady should not be the MVP and not Cam Newton should be the MVP.
But the thing about that is, if you look at Cam Newton, like I said before, he is the leader of that team in every sense of the word. He is the emotional leader.
And Tom
of the
Brady
team.
is not.
Yeah. I don't think
Tom Brady is the guy that makes the machine go. Tom Brady has the idea of Tom Brady getting the MVP this year is based on not only stats, but based on you know, this team obviously is the favorite to get to the Super Bowl. It's pretty obvious. And doing it with talent, he didn't have Brandon LaFell for the first couple of weeks.
Nope.
He's not going to have Julian Edelman for the next couple probably the rest of the year.
You
And their
still have
defense, Panthers defense is, don't underestimate them because they're probably the best defense in the league. Don't
They
talk
have a
about the
decent
Patriots
they
as
have a
having a
decent
great defense.
I'll give you the defense.
And with an offensive line that's banged up. I mean, this is not
Yeah,
rookies
but
all over
but
the
you're
place.
talking about not having LaFell and not having Edelman. You still have one guy who's uncoverable. Every single time he throws the ball to Gronk, he somehow
Giants
is open.
found a way before that
I
touchdown.
was kind of waiting for someone to bring up that name, the big name, the big man, Rob Gronkowski.
But like, I want to go back. Sorry, man. I want to go back to what he was saying one more time. Was that in the beginning of the season, we all knew the Patriots were going to be here. We did. We did. Maybe not undefeated, but we knew they were going to be on top of the AFC East. We knew they were going to be on top, one of the top teams in the AFC as a whole.
That's not how I remember it because most people were telling me Rex Ryan and the Jets are now going to, or Rex Ryan for the Bills and the Jets are going to come up. And
They're the defending Super Bowl champs. You knew they were going to be there.
Pick the Patriots to get back to the Super Bowl. I think they did.
There
At
were
least
a
to the
lot of
playoffs.
happy
At least to the
Dolphin
playoffs.
fans.
Who had in a division where you have the Saints, in a division where you have the Falcons, and in a division where everyone was looking at the Buccaneers with Winston coming in. Who had the Panthers being one of the top teams, not only in that division, but in the NFC as a whole? They're undefeated.
I certainly did not. I had them as like maybe the worst team. In the
Exactly.
NFL.
Now
But
they're undefeated because of Cam. They're at the top of the NFC as a whole because of Cam. They got a better record than the
That
Packers.
is not
They
true.
got a
If
better.
you want to say if it's Cam alone, this is the #1 rushing team in the NFL with Stewart and Tolbert, and they
And
have
Cam
the
Newton.
#1 defense
Cam-
in the
exactly.
entire NFL.
Cam Newton brings that. He sums up that power offense for them.
And Brady doesn't.
Well,
Brady
not a
does,
power run
but-
offense.
but
I think Cam fits. They both fit the system brilliantly. I agree that we're going to move on to the next topic now because of what Aaron just brought up, that the Patriots were one of the favorites. As of right now, they are the by far favorite to make it in the AFC. After now, the Bengals are no longer undefeated. So, but the NFC is a little bit more tricky. You have the Panthers who are undefeated, but I don't think everybody quite is sold on them 100% because there's so many other good teams. So I want to know, the next topic we're going to move to is who do you guys have making it representing the NFC in the Super Bowl? We'll go start with Mike on this one.
As you may have already gotten the idea of, I am a huge Patriots fan. But I have to go with, this season is reminding me very, very so much of the last two times the New York Giants have made it to the Super Bowl. In years where the league as a whole wasn't that good, especially this year compared to those other two. The league is not good this year. And you have this Giants team that if they get on a roll and they get into the playoffs, they scare me. If I'm any other coach, I'm scared to play the Giants because Eli has that playoff, they have that playoff momentum and they get hot towards the end of the season. They get into the playoffs, they just keep going. They keep going. Giants.
Mike, you're wrong. It's clear that you're wrong because the Giants had one thing that do not have one thing that those Giants team did, and that's the defense. They don't have a comparable secondary to compete with anybody in the NFC. They don't have the linebacking play. Now, granted, JPP has made their pass rush better, but they do not have the defense to do it. If you're going to pick a team, I don't hate Cam Newton. I actually love Cam Newton. I just don't like him for MVP, and I love the Carolina Panthers. They're the most complete team in the NFC right now based on their defense. They run well, and they have a quarterback that is the most consistent so far in the NFC at least.
Well, Dan, I disagreed with you on a lot of points last time, but unfortunately I have to agree with you here. I mean, there's no contest. I mean, I have Cam Newton winning the MVP. And you're right about the defense for the Panthers. Luke Kuechly is a beast. Hopefully Charles Johnson will come back. You won't have to buy his own ticket to go to the game. That would be nice. And you know what? The other thing, too, that I think we've seen a resurgence from Ted Ginn that we haven't seen for a while. He was the highly touted wide receiver coming out of Ohio State a few years back. Well, a lot of years back now.
Well, one thing I'm going to say right there, I'm going to stop you right there. Let's not bring up Teddy Ginn until he can catch a wide open pass. Let's stop.
That was what I was going to get. That was what I was
That's a great
getting
point.
to.
Let's just stop that right there. The
That's
second
what I
thing
was
I got
getting
to
to.
breaking down everyone's point, the Giants, I can't jump on the Giants bandwagon until they get out of the NFC East. I agree with you. Once they're in the playoff, once they're in the tournament, they got a chance, but they got to get out of that division first. I'm not sold on the Panthers getting out of the NFC, and the reason why is not because I don't think Cam Newton can lead them that way, and I don't think that their defense is up to the task. I got the Arizona Cardinals coming out. And the reason why I have the Arizona Cardinals coming out, and if Carson Palmer can stay healthy, and that is a big if because he has had a track record of getting injured, especially in the playoffs. If Carson Palmer can stay healthy with that run game, with those receivers on the outside, and that offense being able to manage the game and playing in Arizona and playing well enough, that defense has one of the best secondaries in the game of football. Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, one of the best secondaries in the game of football, and I think that will lead them onward out of the NFC.
Thank you for bringing up the Ted Ginn topic because
I almost
fell back in my chair when we're talking about Ted Ginn being established.
You got to bring up. You got to bring up Ted Ginn. You got guys like Greg Olsen and Philly Brown. You can talk about. You want to bring the guy up that drops the catch on Monday Night Football for the world to see.
You know me better than that. You know I had a zinger lined up.
A team we haven't mentioned, and this could be another wild card like the Giants. Adrian Peterson is really doing a lot with that Vikings team. I'm not saying they're the best full team. Their defense and their as a whole offensively not that good. But
I not only agree with that, but we're forgetting about a team that has a very, very bad man as a quarterback that nobody's talking about.
Because they've lost 3 games in a row. The Packers have lost 3 games.
We're not talking about Teddy Ginn.
No, we're talking about the Green Bay Packers, and I agree with you.
They've lost to bad teams.
And I agree with you. And Aaron Rodgers is a bad man, but he has lost 3 games in a row, and they are coming up against the Vikings that are 7-2, and the Vikings are killing everyone.
They are going to get at least a wild card spot. I mean, with just the way they're
going
to get
the way that the conference
and once
is
he gets to
set
the playoffs, you don't think that he's going to be able to do similar to what the Giants have done?
I think he can do that, but again, it goes back to the point. They don't have a defense, just like the Giants don't have a defense. They got B.J. Raji and Clinton Dix fighting on the sidelines. It looks like the Cowboys out there.
See, I was going to say something about
I think they're making fun of each other's names because those are two of the most ridiculous names in the NFL.
I will say something about the Packers, and I don't think it's so much their defense. I think it's so much their offense. And Aaron Rodgers has looked out of sorts.
I think it's their offensive line.
He's had James Jones there, but you've been without Eddie Lacy for X amount of weeks, and Eddie Lacy hasn't been running the ball well. And no matter how much they don't want to talk about, Jordy Nelson not being there is such a devastating
But their
blow.
big problem is in the running game. They
Yes.
have not been able to establish that. You have to be able to run to set up the pass. It's classic. But don't be so assuming to think that the Packers will make the playoffs. If they lose this game to Minnesota, which I think they will, you still have teams like Seattle and St. Louis that are lurking. They're lurking. And you know what? Do not get lost on them. Atlanta's going to take one of those wild card spots too.
I agree.
That's why I have it right now as the Packers. Atlanta are the 2 wild card spots that started today.
You need to be careful because St. Louis can be dangerous. I know they just got trashed by Chicago. And Seattle looks like they're not the same Seattle team, but in the second half, that team emerges.
If Seattle can figure out how to actually finish games, they're going to be there.
Yeah,
that's how
their biggest point.
See, that's the thing. I don't think that they can. I think we were talking about this off air before. Me and Dan, we were talking about how good Dan Quinn was as a defensive coordinator. I mean, you see what he's done with the Atlanta Falcons, who had a putrid defense last year. And now you see what's going on with the Seahawks. The Seahawks are in disarray. They're what I like to call the Dodgers clubhouse of football. They are the clubhouse. They were a locker room in disarray. They got, they had the whole, thing going on in the beginning of the year.
Trade away your offensive lineman.
Yeah, I mean that I could have understood that though because Russell Wilson doesn't have any weapons.
That has not worked out.
No, not
trade.
at all.
But
Jimmy Graham hasn't worked out.
Jimmy Graham has not,
because they don't know how to use Jimmy Graham.
Exactly.
Jimmy Graham's on the field, everyone knows they're throwing the ball. Jimmy Graham's not on the field, then everyone knows they're running the ball.
Exactly.
It's just,
Because
they
he's
don't
not a
have
blocking tight end. You need to have that balance.
All right, we're going to wrap it up with football since we're no longer talking about good teams. We're talking about the Seattle Seahawks. But let's get away from football for a second. We're going to hop right into the NBA. This year's rookie class has been renowned as maybe one of the better rookie classes coming into it, at least before we started seeing them all play. So now that we have seen them play for the first couple weeks, I want to know who you guys think is an early Rookie of the Year candidate. Aaron, I'm going to go to you on this one.
And I'm going to try and take as much of my love for the New York Knicks out of this, but it has to go to Kristaps Porzingis right now. The way he is playing, and yes, he's coming off the 29-11 night last night, but just
Good day to make the argument.
It is a beautiful day to make an argument. But at the end of the day, the way that you look at Porzingis, it's the way that he plays the game. It's the tenacity that he has. He doesn't have that deer in headlights look that you get out of a lot of European players that come over. You got that out of Bargnani. You got that out of Danilo Gallinari when he first came over. You don't see that with Porzingis. He's dunking over people, getting put back rebounds. He's diving for loose balls. He's fighting in the scrum. He has the potential to be a very, very great player in this league, and I think that right now he's head over heels, more than Karl Anthony Towns, and more than Moutier. I think that's I got to go with Porzingis right now.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Aaron. I mean, the fact that that Knicks fans were booing this guy when the draft when they drafted him.
I was one of them.
I was one of them too. I'm right there with you. I wanted either a Moutier or somebody like that, or maybe a Justice Winslow. But you know what? I think the Knicks have a franchise player here, somebody that you can build around, a guy who has that size. He's 7'2", 7'3", maybe in some circles, but he also has that, he plays that European style, but he also plays a little bit of American style as well.
I would agree with you, but for different reasons. Porzingis is not the one who is leading in this whole rookie stats category. That's clearly Towns and Okafor right now.
Yes.
But the way he plays, speaking on Aaron's point, is the reason why he will win the MVP, because he plays with a tenacity, because he plays with a fire, and we saw him ruin the entire country of Canada so far this year. So if I may steal something, but as far as just a player and it's a tenacity, the eye test says Porzingis.
And he's doing phenomenal. No one expected it, but you got to go with the big guy. You got to go with Karl-Anthony Towns. He's averaging 15 and 10, 15 points, 10 rebounds. He's averaging two blocks a game, and also the last 7 games he's only scored single digits once. I think he's just the force that the T-Wolves needed, working with Garnett especially now. I think he's right now the best out of the rookies.
The difference with Porzingis is, though, that we have Towns on a team that has some perennial potential all-star talent on it. With the Knicks, it's different because of Carmelo Anthony is really the only guy, and he's just been so controversial. At the point that Porzingis is now here, they could be a 40 to 45 win team. They won 6 games. They won their 6th game last year on January 19th. Wow.
Yeah.
This year, they just got their 6th win of the year last night.
And
They're much improved.
Okay, Mike Francesa.
I mean, there's nobody else in this conversation
Right
that we're
now,
talking about.
I don't think there is.
I mean, I know we're a couple games in. I mean, 10 games in.
Right
or
now,
so,
I think
12
maybe
games in.
Okafor's playing all right.
Yeah, but
Moutier's playing all
Okafor's
right.
playing for Philadelphia,
It's the
a team that's
team.
tanking
Yeah.
again.
And that was something I was
still
going to bring.
winless.
That was something I was going to bring up about Towns. Although he's in Minnesota and they have Andrew Wiggins and they have some talent out
Zach
there.
LaVine.
Garnett.
The thing about it is you kind of expected this from Towns. He was the number 1 overall pick. You knew he was going to be a force as soon. He knew he had the NBA body. You knew he was ready. Porzingis was a project. That was all you heard when the Knicks drafted him. He's a project. He's about 2-3 years away. He's a year away. Melo's going to be upset because Phil Jackson lied. You heard all of this coming in when they drafted Porzingis.
But can you hold
So,
that against Karl-Anthony
so
Towns for
you're
being
just
so
gonna
good
say-
in college?
Not
You're
at all.
gonna
I'm
say
not
just
trying to
because
hold
you're
it.
gonna say-
I'm not holding it
that's the thing.
against
Just
him.
because it's a surprise, he gets the edge.
No, but I'm not
No,
holding
that's
it
not even
against
it,
him.
though.
But he was showing that he was more ready than people
And
expected him to
also
be.
Towns comes in, and we know what Towns is going to be. Towns is going to be a guy who gets 20 and 10 every single night. Porzingis is the kind of guy who can go 15 and 10, but he can also throw 30 and 11 out
That's
there.
a great point, and Porzingis is not only won a surprise, but he's the steal of the draft
Right
at
now,
this
of course.
point.
Especially with the way
And
that
the
D'Angelo
value,
Russell's
the
playing.
value.
The value.
Especially-
Nobody wanted him, and for them to go out and have the guts, Phil Jackson had the guts to trust his gut and go after him, and he's got to be applauded for it now.
And now he has a guy who is potentially the ceiling of someone as Dirk Nowitzki. He
That's- yeah,
reminds
that's-
He
that's
does
his ceiling.
remind-
That's the type of
those
player
are the early
that-
comparisons that we had.
And you
He
see
was,
it.
very
He
reminding.
seems
taller
like a
Dirk
more athletic.
Yes.
Because Dirk Nowitzki. Because Dirk is a little bit
Absolutely.
more, and Porzingis is a little stiff at times.
He is,
but
but he has
athletic-
shown some serious signs of
exactly.
athleticism.
And his
No, I agree with
athleticism
that.
is a
He has
little
the
bit
potential
more.
to
I
be
agree.
the best European player of all
And he's
time.
also he's also a polarizing figure too.
Yes.
I mean,
He's not afraid of the spotlight.
He's not afraid of the spotlight, and you'll see how well the Knicks fans have treated him lately. I mean, he's become a superstar overnight.
He's already a pro.
He's
already
He
a
was
pro.
getting chance in the garden.
One thing I
Yeah.
will have to say about that, and this is I've had conversations with a lot of people about this, is yes, Porzingis is getting chance, and yes, Porzingis is polarizing, and yes, he's turning into a superstar, but it's still a small sample size. That's the one thing that people have to understand.
Of course,
it has been.
Well, yeah, as far as rookie of the year
Again,
talks,
we are
yeah,
talking-
rookie of the
we're-
year.
As far
we're
as
talking
rookie of
about
the
this
year
whole
talks,
thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Very small
And this is
sample
the
size.
thing about the Garden that is the lure of the Garden, but also the detriment of it, is when you're playing in New York City, you are under a microscope. The whole 24/7. And so with Porzingis, you have to look at the fact that it's a small sample size, and you've seen the potential. But you also have to remember he's a rookie. You also remember he has a long way to go. So the one thing I have to look at this is make sure that he can continue this. How consistent can he be throughout?
And I think he can handle the adversity well. I mean, you saw how coming in, like we said, it's been documented how much the Knicks fans, how much Carmelo Anthony, out of all people, was very public and been saying how he didn't want Kristaps Porzingis on this team.
Yeah.
So, a guy coming in like that everybody already hates him before he even steps on the court, and now he's transitioned everyone back into loving him.
Okay. Well, we're gonna get away from the NBA now. We're gonna talk about the players that are still playing in college, and not only the players but just the teams as a whole. Right now, look at the start of the basketball season. We have the perennial powerhouses sitting at the top. We have North Carolina. We have Kansas, who just got upset by Michigan State, who's another powerhouse that's up there. So a lot of these classic powerhouse teams are at the top, and I want to know who you guys think is the best one in this season. Mike, I'll start with you on this.
I'm going to go you mentioned it, Kentucky Wildcats. And these guys are monsters. These guys are huge. And you saw last night against Duke. Murray last night was playing unbelievable. And he was getting steals, he was scoring, he was running the game. And he's got Briscoe, right on his side with him. And you've got Murray and Marcus Lee. I think this team, they're young. But you've got this team. You've got the legacy of this team and the coach. These guys coming together, growing together, beating Duke. I think they look. And
the thing about and I'm hesitant about Kentucky, and I say the same thing about Duke, is because when you got all these super freshmen coming in, you never know how they're going to play right off the bat. And last night it was Kentucky's freshmen against Duke's freshmen. It was, and I don't think that's going to stand up against a team that I think is the best team in the country right now, Michigan State. And the reason why I think Michigan State, because first of all, you got Tom Izzo. Tom Izzo, in I believe 18 years, has been to 7 Final Fours. You can't beat that with a national title in 2000. You can't beat that. And not only that, he keeps veteran guys around. You see what guys in the NBA that play for him have done. You look at Draymond Green, is a beautiful example of what a Michigan State player is. And you saw Valentine last night. Valentine, 29 points, 12 rebounds, 12 assists, if I remember correctly. Triple-double. Up there with the likes of Magic Johnson. I like Michigan State over Kentucky just off the simple fact Kentucky's too young, and I love the coaching of Tom Izzo.
I like Michigan State myself a lot, but I think there's one team that everybody keeps forgetting about, and that's the number 3 team in the country. That's Maryland. Maryland was a team that, unfortunately, I picked to win the national championship last year. We're not going to talk about that, though. But coming back this year, they are the number 3 team in the country, and I think Melo Trimble is going to be a definite Player of the Year candidate. You have Rashid Suleiman coming in as a transfer from Duke, as well as one of the guys with the best name, Diamond. I'm sorry, I forget his last name, but his first name is Diamond. Diamond Stone. Thank you.
The first name's all that matters.
The first name is all that matters. And then you have guys like a guy like Jake Layman, who has a really cool story. Jake Layman was a walk-on, and now he's got a chance to play in the NBA.
Layman is a real talent as a senior, not only. And I agree with you. I think Maryland is the team that could surprise a lot of people. Your Kentucky pick is, I'm sorry, it's just a cop-out. And
it's a bit of
that's rough.
Michigan State is not even the best team in their conference. Big Ten is going to be Maryland's for the taking this year. And reasons by Melo Trimble, yes, but they not only have Suleiman coming over from Duke, but they have the kid Carter came over from Georgia Tech to add length down by the rim. So that is going to make things a lot easier, and this is a dangerous shooting team. I know they got scared by Georgetown last night. That's an old-time rivalry game. This team has the opportunity, if they shoot the lights out the way they're supposed to make big noise.
You talk about the Georgetown game being an old rivalry game. Melo Trimble said after the game, "This isn't a big rivalry game for us. This is big. It's a big rivalry game for the older folks, for Scott Van Pelt and those guys. It's not a big rivalry game for those guys right then and there. But I will say this: even though they did get scared by Georgetown, they did come back and they did actually finish the game and went out, and that showed a lot of heart. That showed a lot of guts that Maryland has. Yep. But when you look at Michigan State and you look at the way that they played against Kansas, they were 16 down against the number 4 team in the country. Kansas with Bill Self and all, they have a bunch of freshmen that come into, but this is a Jayhawk team that everyone's looking at as a perennial powerhouse in the nation.
Every year.
People are looking at them as a Final Four contender. And you get Michigan State. Sparty was down 16, and they come all the way back. And not only take control of that game, but completely they took away Kansas's heart, to be honest with you, the way they finished the game.
They totally dominated Perry Ellis last night.
Yes.
And obviously, like you said, Denzel Valentine is a stud. Bryn Forbes, a couple of other guys like that. I mean, like I said, I love Michigan State. I just think it's, there's a better team in the Big Ten.
I think it's the intangibles about Michigan State.
Yeah, but you have
anybody with the Tar Heels currently ranked number
Again,
one.
that's-
the Tar Heels are
No?
talented.
Nobody
But
was
I
there.
don't think that they're going to be good enough to go all the way. They're a very talented team, but they're not battle tested like a Maryland, like a Michigan State.
Matt, can I tell you, typically, the number one team I will never pick because they never, ever end up winning.
Unless you're
national
Kentucky with
But
Anthony
even
Davis.
so,
The table from,
the
you know,
Anthony
number one
Davis,
at the
the
start of the
Anthony
year
Davis
to
Kentucky team is like the only one that I've seen
That's
do it
one of the
in like
that's one of
15
the all-time
years.
great teams.
So,
Yeah,
so
that's
speaking of
once
that
in a
point,
lifetime.
I would trust North
Yes.
Carolina. The only reason I actually like Kansas before the season, even though they lost last night, I think they're a better team than that.
They lost to a good team.
Right.
They lost to the number 13 team in the country.
This is just the
that should have been
beginning
ranked a
of
lot
the
higher
year.
than
They have
13.
an opportunity to make
And
the
the
Final
reason,
Four.
to make my last argument about State, and like I said, they are battle tested. This is a team.
They are.
This
They
is a team
definitely are.
with a battle tested coach who's been there. And let's not take away. And I say this all the time when it comes to Kentucky and Calipari. Calipari is a great recruiter. He's an all right coach. He's a great
recruiter. He's not a
He's
great
an all right coach, a great recruiter.
He's not great with the X's and the O's.
And when you look at it as someone who is great with the X's and O's, someone who is great at taking the talent he has and being able to get the most out of that talent, and not only that,
And
someone who's
keeping
able
it.
to, exactly
And keeping that talent.
keeping the talent there, and making sure that they have a program that they can build around, a program that is successful year after year after year. And that's what I think. I said, being down to 16, I almost turned the game off because I thought it was over. So that says a lot.
The reason why you might be right, though, and just if I was going to make a case in point for you, I would say college basketball is a coach's sport.
Yes.
NBA
definitely
is a
is.
player's sport.
It definitely is.
All right, but we're going to move on. We're going to stick with college now, and we're going to get to what is maybe the most debated topic amongst the sports world because it is essentially made up of guys like us choosing who they think should make, and that is the college football playoffs. We're much closer now than last episode when we were talking about who we had as our four. The rankings obviously just came out. You have Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, and Notre Dame in, Iowa and Oklahoma State, the first two out. But I want to know, we still have a couple weeks left here, some teams 2 games, some teams 3 games before, and then obviously conference championships coming up. Who do you guys have as your people making the playoffs, and then your first couple ones missing, and maybe not even that they deserve to miss, maybe just because of the way it's selected? Dan, or we'll start with you. Oh, sorry, no. We're going to start with Donny first. I forgot about this. We'll start with Donny first because he's the self-proclaimed college football expert on this show. So, Don, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Well, I am the self-proclaimed college football expert. Beside the air quotes that are being
Keyword self.
thrown next to me. Well, this is what it's going to be, Matt, and you can mark this down. You can book it, as one of my managers up in Bristol would say. It's going to be number 1 Clemson. Number 2 is going to be Alabama. Number 3 is going to be Iowa. I think they're going to beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. And number 4 is Oklahoma State. Number 5, I think it's going to be Ohio State, only because they lost in the championship as opposed to Notre Dame, who doesn't play anybody other than Clemson.
Dan?
You're welcome.
We'll go to you now.
I've struggled with this. And just because I'm against this whole 4-team playoff, I never agreed with it. I excuse me. I never was for this 4-team playoff scenario. If you're going to have a playoff, make it 8 teams. It makes it a whole lot easier, and I don't see what's wrong with that much with a computer. But right now, Notre Dame doesn't belong in the top 4 at all. Not at all. They don't belong anywhere near the top 10, not the top 5. But if I was going to choose one, I'd pick Clemson at number 1. I think that's an obvious choice. I'll take Alabama at 2. I'm a big fan of Iowa. I think Iowa will be there. I don't even think Ohio State's going to be in the Big Ten championship game, to be honest with you. So there's that.
Who might they be losing to?
Well, Ohio State's going to lose this weekend, or going to beat Michigan State this weekend, but they have a test up at Ann Arbor that will be very tough in front of 115,000 screaming Harbaugh fanatics. So that will be Michigan playing Iowa in the Big Ten championship game. However, Ohio State will still make the playoff in this way because they are the national champion. They have the loss to Michigan. I do not think that Notre Dame is going to finish this season.
So you think that the loss to Michigan is better than the loss to the number 1 team in the country?
If you let me finish, Notre Dame will not finish this season with 1 loss. I do not think they will. I think somewhere along the line, and probably in Stanford, they could lose at Fenway this weekend against Boston College. Do not sleep on that. Adazio plays tough at home.
Okay, we're gonna. That's your
telling.
Mike. Who do you have for you? That's on that point. We'll get away from that one.
No, I think Ohio State is going to lose to both Michigan teams these next 2 weeks. I think they are, for me, out. I am going with Alabama, Clemson, and then I'm going to go Iowa and Notre Dame.
Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, in that order? You're going to have Alabama number 1 even though Clemson's
No.
undefeated?
Oh,
Okay.
we're going exact order.
Okay.
Oh, so then I go Clemson, Alabama.
Okay, never mind.
Iowa and Notre Dame.
Who are your first teams out that just missed the cut?
Ohio State, with the name and their schedule, those losses to the Michigan teams are going to be tough, but I think they're just going to miss it, and also the Oklahoma State.
Okay.
And I'm going to have the unpopular pick here because I think the way that the committee has it right now is the way it's going to stay. I think it's going to be Clemson number 1, Alabama number 2, Ohio State number 3, and Notre Dame number 4. The reason why my first 2 being out being Iowa, because I don't think Iowa's going to beat. I think Ohio State's going to run the table. I think they're going to beat both Michigan programs, and I think they're going to go on and beat Iowa in the Big Ten title game. I think that the number 16 is going to be Oklahoma, being that they're going to beat Oklahoma State last game of the season, but that one loss to Texas is what's going to do them out. Mm-hmm. And with them and Notre Dame, when you look at the 2 one-loss teams, even with Iowa losing in my mind to Ohio State, you look at all those one-loss teams, the best loss is going to still be Notre Dame. Although Notre Dame has had some bumps in the road as far as who they've played. And like I said, they played Temple well when Temple was ranked. I have them beating Stanford, who's playing pretty well right now, ranked pretty high. But I just think that Notre Dame, with the name, the brand, the people that they're gonna carry going to these games, and just the fact that their one loss has come to the number 1 overall team, undefeated Clemson, is what's gonna push them over the top.
The reason why I want to say that Ohio State would still get in, even if they did lose to Michigan, is because of Ohio State's national championship prowess. I think that possibly could trump Notre Dame.
Matter.
But okay, Notre Dame has the best
a lot of
loss.
things that go.
Yes,
there's a lot of
who
things that go into
who
this
has Notre Dame
that don't matter.
actually beaten this
well,
season?
I'm not talking about
That's
Notre
what
Dame.
I don't care about the loss.
It's funny
Yes,
that you-
we're going to count losses now. Talk about who you beat. You beat Navy. That's pretty much your best team.
But Navy,
you beat
Navy's
Come on, give me a
Navy's
break.
16.
Give me a
Navy's number
break with
16.
Navy. Temple is falling off. They lost to South Florida.
I'll give you
But
10.
when
Give
they
me
beat
break.
them, they were very good.
Yeah, but you know what
come
it's all
on.
about? A lot of it is for this committee is it's the eye test. And that's why it's because they're humans. They use the eye test, and they're also they're gonna think business here. They're gonna think, well, let's see, what are the teams that are gonna give us the highest ratings and the most money?
And Ohio State's not going to give you high ratings.
But this is the
No,
thing.
but
and-
no,
and-
yeah,
and
but
I
if
want
you're-
to
if-
jump in really fast because you talk about Ohio State and the championship prowess that they have. I think that's why they're not going to lose, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to – when you have Urban Meyer on the sidelines, when you have Ezekiel Elliott running the ball, yes, they've had some issues at the quarterback position, but at the end of the day,
It's
you're
their
going
own fault.
It is their own fault because they created an issue when there should
they
not have
created
been
an issue when they didn't.
Completely
they
agree
should have,
with that.
They should have stuck to
But
one quarterback
But
all
if we
year.
look back last year, the way Ohio State got hot last year, and the way that Ezekiel Elliott ran the ball, who's to say he can't do that again? Who's to say that Urban Meyer, who has
But
what,
who's
2
to-
national
yeah, but
titles,
who's to
3
say-
national titles?
Let's remember who they played in the Big Ten championship last year. They played Minnesota.
Yes.
Now they're going to have to play. Most likely, they're going to have to play Iowa as the number 5 ranked team in the nation.
Yes,
which
and I
is a
understand- and
lot
I
more of a
was-
tougher
and
test.
And they
played
still
what-
have
wait a
Michigan. They still have Michigan.
They still have Michigan State and Michigan.
They
If
have
they get
quite a
past
few-
Michigan State, I think they're set. Yes, I think Michigan State is going to be a bigger test for them than Michigan, even though they do have to go to the big house. I think Michigan State is going to be a tougher test. But I think if
Yeah,
they
I
can
do
get
too.
Tough place
past,
to
And now
play.
nobody,
it is a tough place to play, but it's that rivalry game, so they're going to be amped up anyway.
Michigan's not going to
nobody,
be amped up for it.
nobody
Sure.
had a
Defense.
Big 12 team in, correct?
The
Am I right?
reason being
I had
is
Oklahoma
because the
State.
Big
You had
12,
Oklahoma State.
The Big 12 beat themselves up. They
I was
just
just
screwed
that's
themselves.
why I wanted to bring it up.
They screwed themselves by Baylor losing to
Well,
Oklahoma.
Who's
Well,
to
and now-
say that Oklahoma State can't run the table?
I don't think
Because now
they can.
I don't think
They
that
have
many-
now they
Baylor,
have Baylor
and Oklahoma to play, and I think they're going to trip up
Is that
at one of those.
Oklahoma State game in Stillwater?
I wouldn't know, but I don't think it
it's in
matters. To be
Stillwater.
honest.
It is in
Yes, it is.
Stillwater, but it's still.
That's why I'm picking them, because it's in Stillwater. I also think that they can still beat.
But if you look at Oklahoma, the way Oklahoma is playing right now, and I said if they didn't have that loss to Texas, I would have Oklahoma in over Notre Dame.
I totally agree with you.
But the thing about it is, and this is why people are jumping on jumping on the Sooners bandwagon, no pun intended, because they're playing so well right now. They got hot at the right time.
That's what I wanted to bring up.
And they need help to get in. They're not completely out of it. They need help to get in.
But that Texas loss kills them.
It kills them.
But if they run the table, they have,
They have wins over the top.
they have two very big games coming up. But they win both of those games, and the last game they won was their biggest game of the year, arguably.
But if you still have that loss against Texas, the committee's going to look at that and say, okay, we have Oklahoma and we have Notre Dame. Two name-brand programs. One lost.
But Alabama has a loss to Ole Miss, who doesn't look good anymore.
But at the end of the day, Ole Miss is going to a bowl game.
Yes.
Texas is on the border.
Texas
and it wasn't even that the fact that Texas beat Oklahoma.
But that's an all-time
wrong.
classic rivalry game as
Matt,
well.
can I tell you something? This is what's wrong. This is what's wrong with the committee having this human error. Let's base it on ratings. Let's base it on who we lost to. How about go there and beat every single team?
I would rather have the committee
Who
than the
did you
computer,
beat?
though.
That's why I brought up
That's why I don't like the committee.
And
because
Oliver
with the
Luck
committee, it's
and
about
Condoleezza Rice and all these people that are on the committee, there is no reason why the committee there should be a human committee at all.
It's basically us jamokes up here talking about who
It's about them
thing.
kowtowing. They're kowtowing to
We all have
ESPN. They're kowtowing to the NCAA. It's a joke.
But would you
College
rather-
football.
We're not at the rant session
Yeah,
yet.
it's just a joke.
Would you rather have a committee of human beings that can see the games, that can look at who wins who loses to who beats who, as opposed to a computer? Because I hated the computer.
No, I agree with what Dan is. I agree with you're saying about the computer where there is the eye test. That's a real thing. We all watch these games.
And
That's why there is a
something to the style
playoff.
points,
But
too.
I think what Dan's saying is the bias of ratings.
Bias of
That is the
ratings and losses.
That's the biggest
And
thing
the
that
other
goes
thing,
I
too,
think
is
that's
a lot of these
ridiculous.
people on these committees are athletic directors of colleges.
That blows my mind.
That's the
and then
thing that-
Condoleezza Rice. What do you know?
Yeah, what do you know
knowledge
about
is wrong.
sports?
That's the
This has
wrong.
nothing to do with her
But
as
if
a
you-
person.
we
It's
need
what
experts.
does
We need
she
ex-coaches.
know about sports? Get somebody who's not. It's got to be experts that don't have any
There's
stake
no
in the game.
reason why the playoff system should not be a computerized playoff system
But
with
see,
8 teams.
I don't know about the computerized
I don't like
thing because.
And then we talk
system.
about 8 teams as well. I mean,
But because
whole
the
nother
reason
can
there's a
of
reason
worms.
why we changed from the computer to having a committee because there was so much outrage about the
ratings? You want ratings? Make it 2 extra games. They'll give you plenty of ratings.
That
You
will,
better
but
trust me.
but at the end of the day, you got to look at the way that it's set up now. Right now,
and
it's
that's
set
the
up.
reality of it.
Exactly. The reality of it is it's 4 teams. It's set with the committee. They've gone this route. They're going about ratings. They're going about money. They're going about who's traveling with who. Right now,
and you know
the
what?
reality
It's-
of the
it's a
situation is the way.
consumer-based sport.
It is.
All of them are
It may be wrong.
consumer-based
To be
sports.
honest with you, it
That's
may
why
be wrong, but it
sports
is.
is
It
around.
is
That's
what
why
it is
sports
right
are
now.
around
That's why
because
we have-
college football makes so much money. That's the reason why we can get these people get paid though.
that's why we got a show here, guys.
This is
that's
exactly
why-
my
exactly.
point.
Sports is a big deal. It's about
That's why
entertainment.
we
It's about
have.
ratings.
That's why they do it because it involves debate. It involves if Notre Dame is in it and the Oklahoma State is out or Iowa is out. They're going to say, people are going to be like, wow, you know what? Notre Dame got in. I have to watch this so I can watch Notre Dame get spanked. And by some miracle, they win. And then you have ratings. You have people that want to see Notre Dame in the national championship now. You have people that are going to buy tickets that are expensive to go to the national championship. And you have sponsors who also see that it may not know anything about college football that see Notre Dame in there and say, you know what? Notre Dame's in this, so we're going to throw some money out there.
Well, I think the argument was about the 4 teams, and I hate to have to bring
know.
that up.
I know
but,
the 4 teams is a big
you know.
thing. Again, people want to go to 8. I think 6 is an interesting number
I would
with
go
a
with
bye.
I like
I would
think
definitely go with
6
8.
But I mean, it's just the way it is. And then I think the best thing for it happening last year for this college football playoffs was in its inaugural season, a 4 seed won. I mean, that could have. That's probably the best thing that could have ever happened.
That's
Right.
exactly my point, though.
Is
But
the
it
4
shouldn't
seed.
valid-
The 4
that
seed
should
that
not
got in,
validate it.
The
Yeah.
4 seed that got in was Ohio State, another named team.
Yes, but a name team that hasn't been there in a
It's
in
like
a
the
while.
it's like
But
the
they haven't-
Porzingis
but they-
thing with you
Urban
though.
Meyer came in.
It's like the
That's the same thing
Porzingis
with
thing. We
Notre
can
Dame.
come back to that. It's a small sample size. Eventually they're going to run into problems, and this year, trust me, they're going to run into problems.
Exactly, and if we're talking about that, and it should be an 8-team playoff. Because that way, we were talking about this off air about maybe a Houston can sneak in on that 8th seed.
Well, I would
An
love to
AAC
see.
seed.
I would love to
very
see a mid-major
a real-
team
and not a
make this
Houston
thing.
versus Clemson.
Boise
I mean,
State
I'll say,
completely deserved to be in that
a
national
mid-major
championship
right now,
game.
and I will agree with both you guys right now when you say the 18 with the mid-major, because right now, with the way that it's set up, a mid-major can't get into the South.
No,
There's no way in
That's
the
the winner
world.
of a major conference.
Exactly.
As it is now, two major conferences aren't going to have
is it?
a team.
But that's the problem. Is it the winner of a major conference? Is it? Does it base on a conference champion? Are only conference champions going to get in? I want to see them have the guts to throw in a team that doesn't win that conference.
That's why March Madness does so well. Because I get it, there's 64 teams, they got 70 now, whatever it is, but they have that upset ability. Everyone in this country loves an underdog. I don't care who you are. Everyone loves underdogs.
Which is why I don't think Notre Dame should be in this.
I totally agree with you. I just think the fact of the matter is, if they win the rest of their games, they're going to be in.
I agree. We've gone far enough now with this. There's plenty of conversation and debate that could be happening, but that is going to be it. That's our final topic for the show. And if I'm looking at my score sheet here that I've been keeping track of, I'm going to have to declare the winner of this show, Mr. Aaron Johnson, the Southern News, first time on the show. So, Aaron, you can go ahead. You are going to get a little extra FaceTime for winning this episode. But, I mean, again, great points by all you guys. But, Aaron, go ahead and take it away.
All right, well, I'll first start saying Project Kid 11 here. The first thing I want to talk about to you guys is really the Cam Newton situation. Yes, I love Cam Newton. I lived down in Charlotte for a few years, and I was there when he got drafted. People down there love him. The fact that people are upset that he's dancing in the end zone, really, to take a line from Peter Griffin, grinded my gears. Because the fact of the matter is, he's in the NFL. You go there to watch him. You go there to see the players. He gets in the end zone. He scores a touchdown. He does a dance. When you go back and look at Terrell Owens pulling out the Sharpie, when you go look at Chad Johnson, sashaying in the end zone, everyone loves that. You love that when you go. That's one of the things that we all love about football. Hate it or love it, you're going to tune in, you're going to watch. And when people say, like, oh, he's the leader of the team, he shouldn't be doing that, I think that's complete garbage. Because at the end of the day, this is someone who's leading their team. He's undefeated. He's an MVP candidate. If he wants to get in the end zone and dance, and you have a problem with that, keep him out of the end zone, like he said. So at the end of the day, I like Cam Newton. I love that he's dancing in the end zone, and I want to see more of it. And hopefully the Panthers continue down the road that they're going.
All right. Thanks, Aaron. And thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube page here at SCSUTV for more across the board coming up and other shows that we offer here on this network. And this is also a reminder, so you can see all of us here on the show are sporting facial hair. It is No Shave November. At the TV station, we are raising money for cancer, which is the point of No Shave November. We'll put a link on the screen now if you would like to donate to this cause and raising awareness for cancer and supporting what we're trying to do here at SCSU TV. All the funds are going to the noshave.org cause. Please do that. We would appreciate it, and we will see you next time.